Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Good afternoon and welcome to the June 10th meeting of the Public Safety Legal Administration Committee. I am Andrea Boone, chair of this committee. I am joined by the Honorable Amir Farokhi to my right, and to his left is the Honorable Vice Chair Dustin Hillis, and to my left is the Honorable Mary Norwood. Can we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Andrea Boone. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
May we have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Mary Norwood. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
We have 4 public speakers at this time. First speaker, J. Wesley Day.
Day, and just to fill everyone in the room, I was beaten in 2018. I was on life support. I was in a coma. Approximately 4 to 5 black men jumped me based on their perception of my sexual orientation. As a result, I'm here today to ask this safety committee to give me some advice for my son. Because my son this weekend said, "Dad, you always talk to me if the police pull me over or if I get into a fight, don't do anything, that justice will come. Just, call for you, call for mom." And he said, "But look at your case. You were beaten almost 6 years ago, and none of the people have been prosecuted. But instead, they prosecuted you. They charged you with a fray." Amir Farokhi, as you might be aware of, Keith Gamage took that charge and charged me with recommendation for a felony. He said, "Dad, you had them on cameras calling you fags and sissies and homos. How did you get charged? Why did you have to go turn yourself into jail?" He said, "What you told me is not true." He said, "This is why us young people take matters into our own hands, because no one is going to help us after the fact. No one cares after the fact." He said, "Maybe if they cared more up in advance, people would trust going to police when they get into a fight." How do I explain that to him? He said, "If you were a white man and you had camera footage of 4 to 5 black men beating you, they would be in jail and they would not have charged a white man." He said, Dad, you've helped so many people. You were a member of the AABJ, the National Associations of Black Journalists, the National Association of MBAs. You made us go and do so many volunteer works with the Cascade Business Merchant Association, picking up garbage in other people's neighborhood, in Marcy Overstreet's neighborhood, in Drea Boone's neighborhood. But none of these people are here to help you, Dad. He said, all your work has been in vain. Because just like you had to talk, as most black parents have to have a talk with especially their sons, he said, you've been telling me a lie, because no one is there to help you when you've been there to help everyone. He said, I will never volunteer or be part of anyone's organization. Help me to tell my son an answer to that.
Next speaker, Ms. Brittany Burns.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. I am here again, champion for my 3-month-old daughter, Kari Burns, who passed away on March 8th of this year from SUID. I'm sorry. I was okay just a second ago. I'm sorry. As you are familiar with, we are turning our pain into an initiative that can save infants. As SIDS and SUID are, even though they are very rare, they still happen, and they can happen to healthy children. Even with lack of, there was no suffocation when Kari passed. Her organs and everything was regular. It can happen. We pray it doesn't happen, but it can happen. I'm happy to tell you that we have her first workshop this upcoming Saturday from 11:15 to 12 noon, where we'll be giving free infant CPR kits. I have one if any council members of the committee would like one to see what they look like. You can open it up. You can see just how beneficial they are. They are the vendor that we'll be using, because we are turning Kari's Cause into a initiative, a 501c3 initiative, so that we can continue these workshops around the community as we continue to push for an infant emergency CPR hotline. If you would like one, please, you can take one. And if you would like a flyer about her first workshop, I have copies as well. That I can give you. And we just want to continue to advocate for an infant emergency hotline. In the midst of me grieving, I'm having to make a decision, and I've decided that I'm not going to be defeated by losing my daughter, but I'm going to champion and encourage parents. I have colleagues and neighbors who come up to me because they're terrified since hearing about what happened to Kari, who have met Kari and saw how just full of life and happy and full and roles and everything that she was. So they're terrified, and they also would like to see an infant emergency hotline as well. If you would like to do a workshop in your districts, a free infant CPR training, we can talk about that as well. I've left my information. And again, I just want to thank all of you, especially you, Councilwoman Boone, again, always. I just want to thank all of y'all for handling us with kitten-like gloves throughout this process. So thank you. And I didn't cry this time. So we're getting better.
Next speaker, Mr. Eric Burns.
Good afternoon.
We've been joined by the Honorable Matt Westmoreland and the Honorable Antonio Lewis.
As you heard from my wife, we're working on getting a hotline specifically for infants and children under the age of 1, just for emergencies and life-threatening situations. We're making progress, getting vendors and more organizations and pediatricians and doctors' offices to work with us and to help get these CPR kits to parents and anyone who needs them. So all we ask is just for your continued support and just rally behind us and help us push forward, because this is something that the city needs and we should have it should have been in place. Something should be in place for children, especially babies, because new parents are scared, and babies, they can't tell you how they're feeling. They can't tell you what's wrong, and we always don't know. So it's imperative that we have some type of infrastructure set in place for just infants, just to be able to help them quickly, just anything. So I thank you so much today, and we thank you for your support. Thank you.
Brother Muhammad.
I am that I am. Brother Anthony Muhammad. I do not accept religion anymore. From your Bible, Genesis to Revelation, not one human person was born from a woman's womb canal. I come down here and talk about my problem with the police department. I have been talking to Mr. Bond this morning, and I have a problem that since last 2 years, before the COVID was over, we had a problem where a neighbor moved in my community that has access to pet bulls. I say plural. She have let that dog be out every month for the last 28 months. I've talked with Miss Overstreet. I went to the police department on Zone 4, talked to it. I even gave the chief, Darren Shearbaum, emails. They say emails. I go down and talk about it, and the police will come out. After I talked to Mr. Gamish, the Solicitor General, he said Dina Gardner wanted me to get a police report every time they come out, back in March of 2021. I had Major Tyrus I talked to when he was the chief operator over there. I have had recently, I've talked with several people in the police department about this person and the dogs, and they don't want to be sensitive enough to even give me a report. They tell me they don't have to do that. Just take what I write down on a piece of paper. You have Darryl Darcell and Barcourt, 7106 and 7949. You have Austin Henry on June the 2nd. I spoke to him about, I couldn't even get a report from these men. They wouldn't even write it down, wouldn't even want to talk about it. They said, I know your brother Muhammad for the last 2 years, Miss Boone. You've been having problems, and we know about you and the dogs. I was told by Mr. Gambler just said they want a report. I talked with the dog service over there on Fulton Industrial. They have a Caucasian come out and told me, well, we know about you. We're not going to give you no report. You want something, I'll type you something off this piece of paper and give it to you. Now, I want to know, why is it that I can continue to suffer in my community with a dog that is known to be dangerous, pet bulls? I got more than 2 dogs over in this neighborhood, but you got this person that moved in from Section 8, and they call me every SOB they call every month. And I've been going through this, but I want to know why that the police can come out there and won't give me a report. As of May, we had the police to come out. As of June the 2nd, we had the police to come out. I went to court on March the 27th. They fined the woman. They said the woman was in error, but yet you're still letting this go down in my community. You're letting this person come in and do what they want to do, Miss Boone. I've called you and left messages on your voice message. I think it might be full. I know Mr. Bond is full. I gave y'all emails, each one of you members of council, for the last year. I emailed you. But you still don't answer the question. But I'm having a problem when you send a police out here. Why should I be given a 3rd degree? I only want you to address the issue. Is that too much to ask? Over 2.5 years, a person that is on Section 8 can do this and continue to do it, and nobody finds sensitivity enough to want to stop it? I see my time is over, and I thank you, Ms. Boone. I really must thank you, because I was listening to you when you told that sister and her family about their baby they lost due to 911. We got to do better in this city. I greet you as I did not. Mayat Mesrat Hotel, Assalamu alaikum. Mayat Mesrat Hotel, I say. Thank you.
I would like to recognize all of our rising juniors and seniors from the Atlanta Public School System at this time. Will you all please stand? Yeah. Who is their coordinator? Is their coordinator here? Come to the mic. If Samantha, will you come to the mic and tell us a little bit about these wonderful young students here?
Good afternoon, Council. Leah LaRue, Director of the Neighborhood Planning Units. Today is the last day. We started with 30 students, rising high school juniors and seniors, about 25 of whom are in APS, and they spent a week with us in our civic responsibility for young leaders. We created this program a few years ago. They are our 2nd cohort. We were a little delayed by the pandemic, but we started it last year, and this is our 2nd cohort, and Samantha Terry here is leading that program and has managed it very, very well.
So as she was saying, we have about 25 APS, other private school or charter school, and they have learned about everything that you all do. They had a mock city council meeting on Friday, which we do have a recording. So if you would like to witness some of that, it was a great time, but this is their last day and it's been really fun, so.
And they passed 3 pieces of legislation on Friday, by the way.
Out of 6.
That is wonderful, and thank you so much for allowing them to attend the public safety meeting today. The Honorable Antonio Lewis.
I just want to say congratulations to you young folks, and I enjoyed my time with you last week speaking for a second, and I hope if you didn't remember anything, you remember to stack some of that money that you're making some of this week. And congratulations on being the first class to actually get paid, to actually receive a stipend on doing this. That's something I fought for last year, and it wasn't a hard fight with the administration we have. We made the suggestion, and they did it. So stack some of that money and have some fun next year. Congratulations.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
You all can have a seat now. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have a brief report by the Atlanta Police Department.
Hey, good afternoon. Deputy Chief Jessica Bruce, speaking on behalf of the department and Chief Shearbaum. So we just ended week 23. We're entering week 24 right now. We are steady at 1% citywide. Crimes against person are down 12% compared to this time last year. Property crimes are steady at a 3% compared to this time last year. Notable downs for the year compared to this same time last year. Aggravated assaults are down 13%, robbery down 19%, theft from auto down 1%, and motor vehicle theft down 8%. You know, last year it was skyrocketing with the Kias. Homicides, we are at 53 compared to 52 at this time last year. Again, these are escalating disputes and domestic in nature. Burglaries, they still continue to be our issue. Like I spoke last month when I spoke, we were up about 16%. We have shaved about 5% of that down to about 11%. We're still making a little bit headway. Some notable arrests that we made this week, there was the burglary business over at the Dollar Tree at 906 RDA. On June 9th, 2 males pried open the door, entered into the business. Security guard was able to detain one while one took off running. Zone 4 was able to make that arrest on those 2 gentlemen. The second notable one is a burglary, the arrest that occurred in Zone 2 up at the Mercedes-Benz dealership. A gentleman walked in, June 7th. Armed male shattered the front door of the business and entered into the business, went through the cash registers and stuff of that nature. A tactical team was made and made entry and located the male without any incident. Please note that, like I said, he was armed. The suspect, Mr. Shondorius Ruby, 31, he was a convicted felon at the time of this crime. Keeping with our gang, guns, and drugs, we've seized over 900 guns. We've had completed several significant details. One detail that was completed on June 6th with our state and local partners. We made 11 arrests in that detail. Our narcotics unit had a successful warrant in Zone 6 at 175 Memorial Drive, where 3 guns and 3 adult males were charged accordingly. Street racers seems to be always a big topic. This past weekend, we had on June 8th and 9th, Saturday and Sunday, we had a group of cars. They met up around the city, Moreland, Glenwood, and Eva Davis, Memorial, the 2400 block of Moreland as well. So Zone 6, Zone 3 areas. Our ACE unit, which is in charge of that, they quickly were deployed. They were able to dismantle the group. Several arrests were made. These arrests, none of them were residents of the city of Atlanta. So we had people from Morrow, East Point, Fairburn, Lawrenceville, Riverdale entering into our city, causing this lawlessness. 2 of the individuals already that were arrested had already had traffic citations warrants on them, and 3 of the arrests were organizers of the events themselves. So we made 2 felony arrests, 12 misdemeanor arrests, 6 impounds, and 1 gun was recovered. We also have 2 additional warrants out on the organizers of these events as well. So we'll be hopefully getting them locked up pretty soon. And on a good note to end with, our care unit, we are still in field training with that in Zone 2 and 5. And I think they have maybe about 2, maybe 3 weeks left of that, and we'll see them out in the zones as well. And that is it, unless there's any questions.
Do we have any questions from our colleagues? We have been joined by the Honorable Michael Julian Bond. Do we have any questions or concerns? Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Y'all have a good day.
Our next presentation is the Office of the Public Defender.
Good afternoon. I'm Ken Days. I am the City of Atlanta Office of the Public Defender Director and Chief Public Defender. Today's presentation is a continuation, if you will, of our department's initiatives to be more data specific and to be more data centered in our work. Hopefully, our intention is to provide quality metrics to other city partners, some of the third-party service providers, and to allow for a better allocation of resources and increasing the economic vitality of our communities. In our first slide, as a client-centered holistic law practice, we're in a unique position to gather statistics that may be otherwise unavailable or inaccessible to other entities. We have 3 primary goals. The first is to improve the quality of the data that we collect. The second of which is to reduce service barriers and have a better access and more efficient manner in which we collect data. And as a public defender office, of course, we want to continue to lead in this space as a primary source of best practices. Since this is our 3rd data-centered presentation, we wanted to focus on exactly how we'll reduce some of those service barriers and provide an example of what this initiative will ultimately look like. So as you may know, our department's very active in community engagement. We work with numerous nonprofits, faith-based institutions, and social service providers to provide temporary and permanent housing, employment, at-risk servicing, mental health treatment, alcohol and substance abuse treatment, provision of food and clothing, benefits, and of course, ID procurement. We're actively engaged with the MPUs, and we knew that they would be a good source to test the implementation of our data strategy. So we listened to the concerns of the MPU leaders and its residents, the selective residents, and we measured all of the cases we handled in the month of July for last year, and used that as a sample and categorized those cases by each neighborhood planning unit. And for July of 2023, the map that's shown on this particular slide indicates where most of the incidents coming to our office are taking place. And for clarity purposes, as you all are well aware, these are misdemeanor criminal accusations and traffic cases and the City of Atlanta ordinance charges, those things we see at the municipal court, quality of life crimes, if you will, the code compliance charges, et cetera. So of 180 total incidents for last July, we had none in NPUs L or P. In fact, most of the charges were in NPUs M, E, and V, and NPUs H, Q, and D, and G had the fewest number of incidents reported. So with this data, as we become more mature and consistent as we progress in our initiative, we can accurately inform exactly where specific resources need reallocation or where services are most or least needed. So a 1 month snapshot, we've targeted information to better fulfill community needs. The intention of ours is to collect this data over multiple platforms, such as council districts, a particular zip code. We could use a particular neighborhood or even a 6-block radius, whatever the platform requires. We can sort of hand select it to pick up data from that particular area. And so if we know, for example, and identified a zone that has, say, 32% of traffic stops for a suspended license, then we would know where to focus our department's driver license restoration program, or where we should better educate residents on 311 services or PAD or the like. So we will continue to enforce the existing gaps of data from other agencies and supplement them with a quite different lens. So we're hoping, of course, as we've announced before, to be fully operational in this collection by this fall. And with that, I will answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions from members of the body? The Honorable Antonio Lewis.
How are you, Mr. Days?
Just fine. How about yourself?
I'm well. Is the data, is it collected based off of arrest? Like the type of arrest? What I mean by that is, or type of stop. So if a person is stopped in NPU Z, for example, for a traffic stop, but one of them is a felony, so it never reaches you, could that be impacting the numbers?
Well, this is only going to be those citations that end up in our office. So anything that we have, we're going to gather that evidence. And heretofore, we have not been collecting that type of specific data. And we recognize how that can be helpful. So we would not necessarily, if it's a felony stop, we're not going to get that information. I mean, I'm sure the police department right now is already gathering that information and providing that. But for this is just going to be for misdemeanors that would come to our office as client representation.
And I can foresee a gap. I'm just thinking about, because they get charged for multiple things, you can receive multiple citations in the traffic stop. And I just don't want to, because I just understand the amount of stops that we have in our district. And we just heard the police report, but then this is not matching it. And so I'm just thinking maybe about the multiple citations, and if there's a way you can look at it, just equity-wise, I just want to make sure that all of the resources are spread out across the city of Atlanta. And I just thinking about those folks stuck in that gap.
Right. Well, we're not going to, those citations, if it becomes a felony stop, it's not going to be booked into the municipal court. So we would never see that. Again, that would just be data you'd specifically have to get from.
Right. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions from members of the body? Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if approved by unanimous consent, can we reserve Section G, Communications, for our city attorney for last as we proceed through our legislative items for today?
Please proceed.
This takes us to Section H, resolutions, claims with favorable, unfavorable recommendations. We would need a motion to approve all favorable claims, Madam Chair.
Moved by the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The favorable claims have been approved.
I'll make a motion to adverse the unfavorable claims, 5 and 6. Seconded by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. The unfavorable claims have been adversed. This takes us to Section I, ordinance for first reading, item number 124-01312, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, amending the 2024 Intergovernmental Grant Fund budget, Department of Police, by adding to anticipations and appropriations an amount of $744,802.20 for the 2021 Sexual Assault Kit Initiative Grant from the Office of Justice Programs and for other purposes. This takes us to our regular agenda, Section J, ordinance for second reading. Item number 224-01287, an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to ratify services rendered in connection with agreement listed herein, E911 Network System Administration Services with Mission Critical Partners, LLC, beginning February 2nd, 2024, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to exercise the second renewal option under the agreement on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective from February 2nd, 2024 through February 1st, 2025, an amount not to exceed $70,000.00, in accordance with Section 2-1163, subsection C, Article 10, Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein, and for other purposes.
Move approval. Seconded by the Honorable Dustin Hillis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 324-01300, an ordinance by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Sections 10-92B of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances so as to provide an exemption from the distance requirements listed in Section 10-88.1 for a package store license to sell malt beverages and or wine for an establishment located at 25 Peachtree Street, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30303, and for other purposes. Madam Chair, this item need to be held at the request of the sponsor.
By the Honorable Dustin Hillis, seconded by the Honorable Amir Faroki. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held in committee. Madam Chair, if there is no objection from the body, can we take items 4 through 8 together as a block if there's no objection from the committee?
Please proceed.
The sections of Section K resolutions, item number 4, 24R3687, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant of the City of Atlanta in the case of Gloria Grigo versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the Superior Court of Fulton County, Georgia, an amount of $60,000.00, authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 5, 24R3688, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant City of Atlanta in the case of State Farm Mutual Automobile Insurance Company, Asabrogi of Cindy Collins versus City of Atlanta, Georgia, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia, in the amount of $7,000.00, authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 624R3689, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement amount of all claims against defendant City of Atlanta in the case of State Farm Mutual Automobile Insurance Company, Asabrogi of Donna Devers versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia, in the amount of $6,415.01, authorizing the settlement of all claims to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 724R3690, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against City of Atlanta in the case of Eric Radical versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia in the amount of $125,000.00, authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 824R3691, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement amount of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of OTB Reynolds LLC versus City of Atlanta, Georgia, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the Superior Court of Fulton County in the amount of $399,000.00, authorizing settlement amount to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
Move approval. Seconded by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. Item number 924R3698, a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute the First Amendment to agreement listed herein, inmate commissary and trust fund services on behalf of the Department of Corrections, to extend the agreement on a month-to-month basis with Keefe Commissary Network LLC in amount not to exceed $540,000.00 for 1 year for the purpose of providing labor, supplies, and materials necessary for the management of the trust fund and the management and distribution of commissary goods for the detainees at the Atlanta City Detention Center. All contract will be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes. Madam Chair, the administration requests that this item be filed.
Moved by the Honorable Mary Norwood, seconded by the Honorable Antonio Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is filed by committee. This takes us back to our consent agenda, section G, communications. Item number 124C5082, a communication from Mayor Andre Dickens appointing Ms. Patrice Perkins Hooker to serve as City Attorney for the City of Atlanta.
Thank you. This is a dual report position. We will be moving to hold this position today. Ms. Hooker does have meetings scheduled with other members of the Atlanta City Council. Move to hold this position today. Thank you. Seconded by the Honorable Dustin Hillis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held in committee. Madam Chair, that completes our legislative items for today.
Do we have any questions, concerns, or announcements? I know we do have a police graduation scheduled for tomorrow at 7 p.m. All are invited to attend. Any other questions, concerns? The Honorable Amir Faroqi.
Yeah, no question or concern. I just want to let my constituents know we'll be holding a public safety town hall on July 11th at 6 p.m. in the Old Fourth Ward. The location TBD, but likely J.D. Sims Recreation Center. But we'll share more information soon. Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.